The news that has waterfalled out of the internet after Selen Tatsuki has graduated has been fucking enormous. I can't keep up, y'all. Holy shit. Like, you would think I would be appreciative of having my channel fed with content, but this is too much. Slow down. All right, let's get into the news, y'all. So, I don't know how much time you guys spend on /VT on 4chan. I don't recommend spending any time on it. It's brain rot. However, every once in a while, you will find something interesting on here. There was apparently a message going around called "The Impact of the Decision to Terminate the Affiliation Contract with Nijisanji EN Liver on Our Financial Results." And in this email, you know what their conclusion is? Sentence 1, they made the decision to terminate Selen. Sentence 2, the impact of this decision on our financial results will be negligible. So yeah, in case you were wondering how Nijisanji views Selen Tatsuki, they view her as a negligible financial loss. So, you know, that's nice. Now, as far as exactly how negligible of a financial loss it is, I mean, we did see a noticeable drop in Nijisanji stock after Selen was graduated. But that's not all, folks. One of Nijisanji's sponsors, Height, has decided to terminate their project with Nijisanji. Mofu Merch also stating that they're going to no longer carry Nijisanji merch. Vendors who go by the names of Dibby and Kisei have come to the conclusion that they're not going to put any Niji EN photo cards or keychains on their shop anymore. All that merch is going on hold. Wizarding Journey saying that they are going to discount all Niji fan merch and no longer support the company. They're getting rid of their stock and not restocking it. Rima Noir also saying that they are no longer going to sell or make any new fan merchandise for Nijisanji or their talents. Another artist selling all their stock of Niji merch and not restocking it. I could keep going, and honestly, I'm very tempted to. But it seems that vendors and artists alike are no longer going to be financially supporting Nijisanji through merch, which, if you guys remember, Mista said that talents only get 2% of merch sales anyway. So I personally love this because it means that this is going to specifically hurt the company and not as so much the talents. So if you're really wrapped up in the sink the yacht movement, I think this is a far more effective way of going about it. Because if you take away their sponsors, you take away Nijisanji, the company's source of income, without directly impacting the livers. So, honestly, 10 out of 10 situation. I couldn't be happier. The yacht is sinking. As we now go over to Dokibird, the recently graduated Selen Tatsuki rebranded to her old account. She says, "I just want to thank everyone for the support over the last few days. After being in the darkest point of my life and silence for so long, I honestly lost hope for my future when everything I've done was just gone. I hope I can repay you in the future 10 times more." There are so many opportunities that opened up and so many friends I've made over the years that spoke out. Big companies still believing in me and offering to sponsor me. I've always loved supporting artists for years, even before all of this, so thank you for your voice. Thank you everyone for the love and support. I think I cried enough tears and it's time to laugh again soon. Honestly, this has been a emotional whirlwind. Selen/Doki has been through a tremendous amount, and it's good to see that things are finally looking up. People are losing their support for Nijisanji and starting to realize that the real support needs to go to the individuals themselves. I hope we see more livers realize that Nijisanji is a sinking yacht and they need to deboard, go indie, and soak up all the love and support that they deserve without the baggage of this black company. Now, part of what makes a black company black in the first place is their exploitation of their workers, both emotionally and financially. So I would like to present to you a message from Dokibird where she says she made zero profit last year working for Nijisanji. I'll go ahead and let her speak for herself.
My mom scolded me about this because, during all of this, she looked at my financials and I made zero profit last year. Because I spent it all. spend less because you spent $200,000 last year, and I was like, that hurt. Oh, that hurt. But then when Mr. Man was like, all those projects you want to do, all of that you want to do, you don't have to, you won't be spending $200,000. It just blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe those were my expenses last year.
Now, it is worth mentioning to give a little bit of context. As much as I would love to fully blame any color for Selen not making any profit, and believe me, any excuse to throw shade at this company, I will take gladly and gleefully. But it is worth mentioning that Selen has a habit of taking on massive projects and paying for everything out of pocket. Like that music video, Last Cup of Coffee, apparently cost $15,000, which she paid out of pocket. If you remember the art contest that she was doing, she was giving away thousands of dollars, all which she paid out of pocket. Selen does have a habit on biting off more than she can chew, and apparently that doesn't just mean time and energy, that means money too, brother. Holy shit. $200,000 in expenses. That's more money than just to give you a little bit of context, you know how much money I made last year? I know because I was doing my taxes. I made $33,000 in gross income last year. Selen's expenses for last year are 6 times greater than I even made. She spent 6 times more than I made. Oh God, I feel so poor. And of course, the question on everybody's mind is, if she had $200,000 in expenses, did Nijisanji pay for anything? And honestly, I gotta agree with Malcolm here. The real happenings are wilder than the rumors. Holy shit. Nijisanji, when you try to send them an invoice, grenade out! So apparently Nijisanji exists to approve/disapprove things, then take your money without giving any support for what they did end up approving. Gotta love working for a company, alright guys? So just so you all understand this correctly, most of the money you make you don't even keep because they take a cut of your profits. They also make you pay for everything, and they also keep the rights to everything. And that's not even factoring in taxes, guys, because as an independent contractor, which all of these employees are, the taxes on an independent contractor are so much higher. And they don't come out of your paycheck every month. You have to pay into the government at the end of every year. It's redonkulous. No wonder she made zero profit. Alright, for this next bit, I'm gonna need a decent amount of context, and I'm also gonna have to make you take everything I'm about to say with the fattest grain of salt. When I tell you we are in rumor territory, we are in narrative territory, there are so many rats in what I'm about to tell you, they are scurrying in all directions when the lights come on. This is just potential bullshit with zero proof. But I still think it's interesting, it's being talked about. Alright, so first things first. There have been rumors going around that Nijisanji hires on old retired EN talents to be managers for new EN livers. One of those people who allegedly went from a live streamer to a manager is the talent Noor. They were in Nijisanji's India branch that later became Nijisanji English, and then they completely dissolved. So there is, as far as I'm aware, no proof of this, but allegedly all these people are managers now. The next thing we gotta talk about is we're gonna name drop the term Luxiem. Okay? And for anyone unaware of the branding, because Mista has retired, that includes Luca, Shu, Ike, and Vox. And we're also going to be name dropping Illuna, which includes Maria Marionette, Kyokaneko, Aya Amari, Aster Arcadia, Scarle Yonaguni, and Ren Zoto. We have, I assume it's pronounced Raziel Warmonic, not to add fuel to the fire. Boy, I already don't believe you. I am a single sentence fragment into this post, and I already don't believe them. You don't leave a post like this unless you are actively trying to throw fuel on the fire. So keep that in mind, that I don't believe their introductory statement. But let's please continue. But since I was close to a member in Nijisanji for a long time, I'm absolutely not surprised it's starting to crumble. I was vented to about a male member from Iluna. I can't remember which one, that was harassing and guilt-tripping new girls to the point that other members would go quiet or exclude them from their voice chats. Yet management apparently did nothing and the members themselves had to self-regulate. Now, as I'm sure you're aware, this is pretty consistent from what we have heard, that there was definitely like bullying and infighting and harassment, and management never stepped in. So far, everything seems to check out. I was vented to during the whole AR Live fiasco about how childish a lot of Luxiem were and how they went on strike to protest the cancellation of the event while trying to form meetings amongst themselves to discuss various things such as merch sale cuts. They self-organized meetings to discuss how they were going to demand things from management. And let me just chime in here. It's trying to paint Luxiem as being immature, whiny, and entitled, but can I just say, the merch cuts were 2%. So if they want to unionize and demand a higher merch cut, then yeah, more power to them. I fully support that. And of course they were pissed. Their live event was canceled. Look, I get it. Live events get canceled all the time. Projects get postponed. Shit happens. But I think they're right to be mad about it. They go on to say that Noor, one of the managers, played favorites to the point where they privately took Luxiem to an expensive restaurant outside the city in a small town when they were all in Japan together. Now, in case you're curious as to why Nijisanji would be playing favorites with Luxiem specifically, keep in mind that Luxiem has been one of their most successful waves, and it includes Vox Akama, easily one of, if not the most successful talent in the entire agency. So the idea of a manager taking the Luxiem boys out to a fancy dinner to celebrate their success is not too far out of the weeds. There are countless other stories that I can't recall, but a lot of the times it would make me go, huh? Due to the incompetency of management and not even providing basic PR training for such a large brand. Their livers have and always will be potential loose cannons because there is no structure. They play favorites. They don't know and don't care how to run a brand, at least on the EN side. They hire a bunch of young 20-year-olds and then let them loose with, in some cases, millions of eyes and expect them to just figure it out. Now, even though this post is 100% completely unverified and unverifiable, I think some of the accusations, at the very least, make sense. I don't want to point fingers or make any accusations about any specific talents, but we are confident that there was internal bullying that never got resolved by management. The idea of 20-something dudes who recently just got crashed into a huge pile of money going absolutely bonkers. Yeah, I was 20 once. I remember what a reckless dipshit I was when I was 20. These are all very believable things. But at the end of the day, we just don't know if any of these rumors about the bad behavior of Iluna or Luxiem or Noor specifically have any weight at all. So once again, I am begging you not to go out and just blow up the DMs of random livers because a single tweet that was likely intended to stir the pot got you angry. We need to see screenshots. We need to see proof. And what do you know? We've got some screenshots to review. Now, we're definitely getting into some sketchy territory here, and we're definitely getting into some territory that might be dangerous. And I might have to cut this part of the video out or delete it altogether, depending on how things play out. I have no idea if I'm going to regret covering this on my video, but the benefits of being a relatively small channel with a relatively small audience is that if I fuck up tremendously here, I have the ability to do damage control relatively quickly and easily. With that being said, let's dive into 4chan rumors. There's no way this goes well for me. Fuck it, here we go. Yesterday, on 4chan, according to this screenshot, we have a quote, Niji spy here. Selen's graduation will be announced shortly after Pomu leaves. They're trying to find a way to announce it so she comes out of it looking bad, but saves the company image. She did commit self-harm, but little information is being passed along. She has cut contact with the other livers and Millie isn't looking so good. Enna is backing her up though. Source, trust me bro, signed LK. Which, high odds that this is Luca Kaneshiro. And just to reiterate, Luca is part of Luxiem, a member of a branch that has been accused of being reckless and being accused of being entitled and, you know, someone on the internet actively trying to slander their reputation. Yet here we have a leak that shows that they are, yes, reckless in the fact that they are leaking internal information, but I would argue on the side of good because they are trying to inform the public about very serious goings-on within Nijisanji that the people need to know about, such as the fact that Nijisanji is actively trying to throw Selen under the bus. Remember when I said we were getting into the weeds and we were getting into the rumors here? We've got conflicting leaks from all directions. I have no idea what is and isn't true. Take all of this with a grain of salt. Now, as far as these leaks that Luca is the person leaking all this information, we have some Discord screenshots. And you can see voice connected at Luca Kaneshiro. Now, I'm not going to go word for word through this Discord screenshot just because it's a ton of text and this video is already getting pretty long. But basically, Aster and Scarle were having a disagreement about their in-stream behavior. So Aster begins the message by saying, "Why are you even hurt?" Which, not gonna lie, never a great start to a leak. Aster begins by talking about how whenever somebody joins, the focus is always shifted to the person who joins. The conversation keeps going and he doesn't want to interrupt. Apparently Scarle is telling him that he's too silent and he's like, "Would you rather me constantly make random noises or cut people off to say something?" And apparently at some point he said something that hurt Scarle's feelings because he goes on to say, "If you're hurt that I told you that, you'll probably forget this. I mean, am I wrong? You told me to forget what was even said last night." Scarle goes on to explain that she is sorry, she was just overwhelmed, she never meant to hurt them, etc, etc. He goes on to say that he wasn't trying to hurt Scarle, he's just trying to vent, but he makes it very clear that he's hurt, that him trying to vent to Scarle has overwhelmed her, and he's like, "Well, I guess I'll just keep my distance in terms of feelings." And says that the next time she asks him how his day was, he's just gonna keep it short and simple and keep his problems to himself. Scarle then goes on to say, "I'm sorry I keep making you feel this way," to which Aster does not take well, and he kind of explodes a little bit here and says, "Is that it? Am I supposed to be like, oh no problem and just go about my day? I was hoping for some change. Maybe I should treat all of this as a job and not connect with anyone because why bother, right?" After which point, Scarle apparently ghosts him, and then he complains about being ignored for several posts. Now, unsurprisingly, people are casting a lot of doubt on this message and this interaction. There's been multiple accusations from leading up to this point that Aster has been harassing the other talents within the agency. And here you have Aster allegedly acting entitled and lashing out. And something as small as not being able to participate as much as he wants to in a collab stream causes to create this great big drama with Scarle. So there's a very clear and very what seems to be intentional narrative to make Aster look like the bad guy. And people are mocking this Discord leak, making their own Discord leak. Don't know if the above is credible enough. There's this screenshot here too with, you know, the Aster Arcadia name and profile picture that goes, "Wow, so hard to edit, /VT will believe anything. Hiroshi is a whore, by the way." A very clear parody of the above post. And people are really picking apart this message, saying the screenshots are supposed to be next to each other, but the profile pictures overlap onto the next image. IDK looks fake to me. I'm so done. This is likely made to frame Luca and ask her for doing shit, but I do hope they graduate to get away from this god-awful company and community. Like, not you setting people up to most likely endure horrific behavior or firement from their jobs. Let them speak. Burn in hell like actually. Y'all speculate and believe anything. I'm actually so sick of this. Leave him out of your war. Hey everyone, report this post. This is the fakest shit I've ever fucking seen. Aster can barely talk to people without anxiety. There's no way in fucking hell he would harass people. Report this post so no more fake information can be spread. Leave Aster out of this shit. Too juicy, probably fake. I really doubt that the spy would just sign off with their initials. That's beyond obvious. This is so fake, I'm gonna kill myself. Not gonna lie, this happened like, what, more than a year ago? We have time for them to solve this issue in private. I really wouldn't call this evidence. Which I do have to say, even though there is a possibility that all of this is fake, even if it is real, I feel like the fact that Aster has anxiety makes a lot of sense. He felt talked over, he was offended, he was upset, he lashed out. Scarle felt overwhelmed and just ghosted him for a bit while she calmed down to collect her thoughts. And I think the idea of having an argument a year and a half ago and later figuring their shit out and making up is very likely. And my hypothesis that they just had a normal argument and over a year and a half ago and later made up is pretty corroborated when I see this. Because after these leaks were posted, you've got Aster and Scarle both posting purple and red hearts. And they've also retweeted each other's posts. Which, for anyone not familiar with the significance, people use emojis in their Oshi marks. You can even see the purple heart in Aster's username as like part of his Oshi mark. This is pretty obvious messaging that the two of them are now on good terms. So to everyone who's acting like this leak is somehow game-changing, I feel like is misguided. I mean, what? Do you really think you've got a company with dozens of people, 18, 19, 20 years old, and they've never, had an argument before? Like, what exactly is game-changing here? They had an argument. They took streaming way too seriously and took on-stream actions too personally. Like, I'm 31 years old. I obviously am not going to talk about this or be this immature and fucking whiny when I talk to my friends, but I know that when I was 17, I sure as shit did. I just personally don't understand why this is treated like such a bombshell, because all it proves is that Aster is sensitive and whiny, and we already knew that, so like what exactly is the revelation here? I think it's also worth mentioning that people are putting in an absurd amount of effort to prove that these screenshots are real, breaking out the timestamps and the profile pictures. One person even going as far as to analyze the way the text was compressed by the lossy Discord image compression. So none of you find it weird that Luca's ex-friend made a whole thread and pinned him as the leaker, which would cause an investigation, and a few hours later these screenshots randomly pop up? I'm not believing shit until there's more concrete proof. For now, this smells like bullshit. It's really possible that this is water under the bridge for them. It's very possible this is mental health related, and this could be fake. There are a few messages that yes come across as very pushy and passive aggressive, but I don't know if this is really harassment as much as a lack of social skills. I don't know how to parse any of this information. I'm mentally completely fucking exhausted. I'm sure there's gonna be many interesting and worthwhile comments under this video, and probably a lot of comments that hate me for whatever reason. I'll see how it goes. I am so tired. Goodbye, guys.